Hi everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I wanted to do, a Halloween themed video. So yes, been wanting to do this for a while now, this video, and yeah, just kind of get it out there. And it's always of course great to watch horror films around the Halloween period, and like many, of course, I have been watching, in October and end of September as well. I started watching quite a lot of horrors again for this period, and I watch horrors around the year, but especially I think it's great to watch. Rewatch horror films around the Halloween period, and I guess every week it's been kind of 3 or 4 on average, kind of horror films that I've been watching, and yeah, just this next kind of right on the run up to Halloween, especially it's fast approaching. It's basically a horror, every day really, and yeah, just really celebrating this period, and it always gets me to this question, I guess, not just at Halloween, but I guess around the year really, but what is the scariest horror film that you've ever seen? And that is the question, of course. I'll be asking you viewers, anyone watching this, and you can kind of leave it in the comments what you think. Again, it's very hard, so I understand if you give multiple examples, because that's what I'm going to be doing as well in this video. But yes, what is the scariest horror film, or film, if you want, that you've ever seen? And that could be a number of different reasons, that it scares you. It could be an eerie feeling. It could be jump scares, of course, one that really gets you going. It could be just a disturbing nature to a film. Any way it scares you. It could be one that really stays with you after seeing it. Perhaps for a week after seeing it. Also it could really get to you. That's what my number one will be. Kind of a film that does that to me, which I'll get to in a moment. But yes, all different types of scariness. What is the one that you would say scares you the most? What is the scariest film ever made? And it's always interesting to hear, of course, and especially around this time. Thought it'd be quite fun to kind of ask that question. So yes, leave that in the comments if you want, and yeah, I'll get into kind of what films scare me the most now. I've not got a kind of a ranking here. I guess that's even harder than top 10 kind of horror films, favorite horror films list. So yeah, I thought I'd give some examples, and then at the end, give what I think is the one that scares me the most. A week after seeing it, nearly once again, still thinking about it, and still when going off to bed, getting kind of thoughts of the film and stuff, and that's quite rare for it to do that film. So we'll get to that, but first I'll give some examples. Films that scare me the most. Recently, I saw once again The Conjuring 2, and I think the first Conjuring film really is quite scary. Although I have seen it 4 or 5 times, and I guess it's one of those films that it's more the jump scares, and kind of yes, there is stunning filmmaking involved as well. Just a real atmosphere to it, and of course the designs, the makeup, the stuff is very very frightening. But I think more the jump scares on that one. Whereas the second Conjuring film, first of all, the jump scares are harder to predict, even if you've seen it. I think, and just they really every time I see it, it gets me regardless. And I think as well, just the actual disturbing nature of the setting, the lighting that's involved as well, and just the actual the actual haunting itself, of that film, of the house, and just the location as well. I think makes it a scarier film, and it really is. There's moments in that film that always get me, and it's an example of a film that I saw recently. Of course, Hereditary as well. I think perhaps the scariest film, of the 2010s for me. It just really is just something else. But the second time seeing it once again, I was so scared, especially the final act. We have some again, no spoilers in this video, but very very bizarre moments, I must say, and ones that really haunt me, and can't kind of get it out of my head, and perhaps I've had nightmares about this kind of thing as a kid, and here we are. Here it is, in an actual film. So Hereditary. A lot of people have seen that film, of course, and I think that really is an example from modern horror that kind of again, it's got some moments that make you jump, but it's not just that. It really is. It's a one that's unsettling. Of course, just really terrifies me. It disturbs me. It kind of gets me an uneasy feeling, and you know, perhaps, you know, as I say, going off to sleep, you know, after seeing a film like that, you know, at night, it's kind of hard at first to go off to sleep, and you keep sort of jolting up and kind of seeing different things that you've just seen in the film. And you try to relax, but regardless, you know, it does kind of make you feel scared. You know, and personally for me, you know, films like this, getting up at night and stuff, you know, in the dark, you know, it can make you kind of wary a little bit, you know, kind of after seeing a horror film like that, you know, kind of going about. And yes, you know, really something else. That film, Hereditary, and yeah, going a bit further back for another film, you know, of the century, of course. We have 28 Days Later. That is a film that, you know, the first time seeing that, you know, it was really, you know, soon after it came out, you know, not as it came out, you know, but I was around 8 or 9, so a few years after it came out, you know, I was started to watch a lot of horrors. You know, I just remember seeing this film and kind of having to, I don't think I actually finished it, you know, I had to kind of put it off, and I watched it again shortly after that and all the way through, but it really, the first half an hour of that film, you know, the opening alone is just, it really does something to me. You know, it just still gets me on edge, and it's just really disturbing, that film. And yeah, the first half an hour especially, of course, it's very on edge, and you know, just moments that, you know, feel so real. Of course, partly because, you know, Danny Boyle, you know, kind of the way he shot the film, you know, really, it's kind of like you're there in that kind of you know, situation, and of course the designs, you know, of the actual infected in that film, you know, it's just so scary. And you know, I think the entire film is, but especially, you know, really the first hour or so, and moments in the final acts, of course, but it really, the first half especially, you know, of that film is just so constantly scary. And I've seen it many times, but it's still, you know, kind of, you know, I kind of I know when moments are coming in that sense, but you know, regardless, you know, it really does you know, scare me. And yeah, so there's some modern horror examples, but of course, the most scariest films to me are usually the classics. You know, we have The Shining. Now that is a film some people, you know, aren't too scared of. When I was a kid, I saw it from a very young age. I was scared of this film, but I think actually, you know, it's really it wasn't a film back then. You know, it's one of my favourite horrors, but I didn't think it was one of the scariest. And I think seeing it in the last kind of 5 or 6 years, so I've seen it a few times within that you know, kind of time period there. But yes, you know, I think it's grown to become even more, you know, kind of haunting and you know, disturbing, just eerie. You know, I think the setting, of course, of the Overlook Hotel is one of the main reasons. But I think just you know, it really just you know, gets under my skin, and the whole kind of way in which Jack Torrance, of course, you know, things escalate with him. You know, and Jack Nicholson's performance, you know, truly is one of the best for me in cinema. You know, just the experience. I can't quite put my finger on it. Aside from a few moments, of course, you know, the bathtub, you know, sequence, which, you know, truly are just you can explain why they're scary. But I think there's a feeling throughout that I can't quite describe, and it just kind of gets under my skin, and it just kind of hypnotises me in a sense, I guess. And many Stanley Kubrick films do, but I think The Shining, obviously being a horror film, you know, it truly is. It's a one that kind of puts you in that state, and you know, it takes you in, and it's kind of, you know, like a nightmare really at times. That film, but of course, yeah, one of my absolute favourite horrors, and a film that has grown, as I say, to become for me one of the scariest, at least, horror films, one of the most disturbing films really ever made. So that's another example. And of course, as well, we have, of course, you know, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. You know, I've seen a few of the other ones, but the original film, you know, there's something about that, because it can, you know, it's something that can actually, you know, has kind of in many ways happened, and it really is, you know, that location, you know, in the film, just being in the middle of nowhere, and you know, just these insane, you know, characters, of course, and just, you know, of course, the actual villain of the film being Leatherface, you know, the signature, of course, the character in this film, you know, just everything involving that, and the main house as well, you know, just it truly disturbs me. And I think the filmmaking here is one of the main reasons, you know, the sound design, and just the actual way in which it's shot and edited, you know, really it jars just through editing alone, and not use of music really at times. One of the iconic moments, of course, is just purely the edit and kind of catching you out without really using music to say this is a kind of a jump scare. It's kind of after that after the actual interaction there, within that scene where the actual sound design really comes in and it leaves you with that haunting feeling afterwards. It really it shakes me to the core of that film, and I will be watching that again either tomorrow or Saturday, and cannot wait for the film. One of my favourite horrors, but yes, truly a disturbing film, and once again, just truly, a gritty film that really gets under the skin. So yes, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Some other examples of scariest films that I've seen include The Thing by John Carpenter, of course, the 82 version. This film, wow. I think the practical effects, just the makeup and all this, really contribute to this being one of the scariest films. Very signature moments throughout that many have seen at some point. Just truly from a young age, of course. Saw this when I was very young, haunted me, and I think really unsettling film. Especially kind of the spider-like moment. That image there is one that I've never gotten out of my head. It's so scary, that film. I've seen it many times, and they always get that kind of feeling in the gut, and that kind of uneasy feeling. But the tension, and just using that tension to really elevate, those moments where it's kind of big, bombastic, just gross out at times as well. Body horror, of course, involved, and stuff that is so kind of creatively, bizarre and just out there, that it does something. You can't quite make it out at times. The creatures, as well as kind of making out different things as well. And it culminates, in just an effect that is just so unsettling and disturbing, and visual moments, of course, and also feelings that it's a very disturbing film, of course, as well. So another film, another 80s film includes, and this is a film that I think is more moments in the film. It's not throughout, because it is a horror comedy. It's not throughout one of the scariest, but I think there's a couple of moments in this film that is some of the scariest things I've ever seen, and that is An American Werewolf in London. Of course, John Landis, directing this film. Just the dream sequences. That's all I'm going to say in this film, and wow, as a kid, just seeing a certain image in particular, just a face that I just don't know how. It's just the makeup, of course, and the edit to that as well. Just the jump there. It's one of the best jump scares, but that moment in particular, as well as another kind of nightmare sequence that just, it's one of the most disturbing, things that is ever been put to film, really. And aside from a few moments, though, it's not one of the absolute scariest films. It is one of my favourite horrors, definitely. I think it's up there, but I don't think this is one of the absolute scariest throughout. But it's a film where there's a couple of moments that that's some of the scariest things that I've seen, really, and always makes me jump no matter what, and just disturbs me, of course. The makeup, being one kind of element of how that's so scary. But yes, I think I've given some examples of scary films to me, of course, and I think there is one film though that I think seeing it again last week, it reminded me. I think perhaps this is to me, if I was asked, just give one film that you think could be the scariest to you, one that disturbs you. Perhaps, again, I said earlier, you often think about, you kind of trying to get off to sleep, and you've seen it perhaps on the night or recently, and you get the images in your head, and this is a film, in fact, that is behind me, and it actually says on the Blu-ray, the scariest film of all time, and I might agree, as I say, this could be the scariest to me, and that is The Exorcist from 1973. This film, wow. And seeing again, just a note on that, just on this from general, wow, this is one of the best films ever made to me, and it's just rocketed right up my list of favourites once again, and best films, I saw a few films around this time last week that I wasn't, inspired by really visually and stuff. But seeing this film, the subtle build up, this is every frame is perfectly done, and I think William Friedkin, this is just wow, just to behold the direction in this film, the way it starts. The first 10 minutes alone, though, it's just so scary, so unsettling, and I think more than any film, this it puts me in that world, horror film, and makes me believe in something perhaps that I wouldn't believe in really, or I'm unsure of perhaps, and at least for the duration of the film. And even though I tell myself afterwards, this film or this stuff will not happen, it's a film. It convinces me temporarily perhaps, and that this is actually happening, of course, and it's a film that has kind of documentary-esque elements to it, I guess, and kind of techniques, first, and it's just such a gritty film, but also kind of poetic film, the way it's shot, and it kind of adds up to this intense, truly intense, kind of fever dream really, and one that you can't kind of get out of, but I don't want to because I love the characters so much, and it's such a riveting film, and it's one of the best written films, so that kind of makes it more believable. The characters, the acting, it's one of the things. The acting is so good in this film. Everyone involved, Linda Blair, of course, just gets one of the best performances really in a horror film, and seeing all these different kind of characters going through this, but the way it builds up, the way it kind of it plants different things in my mind early on, and just from the opening 10 minutes, which is some will say it's kind of slow, but I think it's just seeing that first 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Once again, I'm reminded of that is just better than, and I think scarier than most horror films that I've ever seen, and that is just the first 10 minutes. The rest of the film is constant, kind of scares and disturbing imagery, and the extended, kind of director's cut, I think is even scarier, and that's my personal favourite, version, that kind of adds different images once again to the film, even more so that kind of jump at you, or add to the disturbing nature, and just different moments and even pivotal scenes where it kind of enhances this, kind of this feeling, and it scares me even more. And I think, of course, we have the famous, without spoiling the film, demon face, and that one of the greatest moments in cinema, and is technically just this jump scare, but it's more than that. I think it's a moment that after seeing that as a kid, I couldn't ever get that kind of image out of my head, and I've heard perhaps it's the rejected makeup for the actual for Reagan stuff, and to me it's probably the most scary image in the film, and this is a very rare film where that image, off and on, since I saw this as a kid, no matter if I've not seen this film for several months or a few years perhaps, it does occasionally, without me kind of thinking about it, come into my head, perhaps when I'm on edge, or kind of trying to get up to sleep, and actually having a nightmare. This demon face, perhaps is the most scary image in cinema, and it really is something else. How this was done, it's it's just perfection, in the makeup and stuff. But the placement of that moment there within the film, just being one of the most scary things I've ever seen, and it just does something to me. Full body, kind of jolt at times, and then just there's a moment as well in the first hour involving Reagan, and then just a cutting to a face as well, and it's just wow, this film truly is one of the scariest, and of course it is comedic at times in the second half, but that does not detract from that final act even being so scary, and it's like I've gone through this experience. It's one of those rare films where it has bombastic moments, just stuff that is almost unbelievable at times, but it doesn't kind of detract from the fact that it's just truly haunting my soul, and yes, a week on, whereas it was 6 days ago now, I saw this film, and I'm still thinking about this occasionally. Again, going off to sleep, and just trying to think, let's just relax, and then it just pops into my head different moments in the film, and just wow, it has moments as well that kind of body horror and gross out moments, but it's the film I think most scares me consistently, and at its kind of peaks, perhaps a couple of moments are to me the scariest in cinema, for a number of reasons. Perhaps don't make me jump as much as a film that I haven't seen before, but then again the demon face, when it's placed in certain scenes, it does, it's for me the greatest kind of jump scare in cinema, and it's just the moment that that for a few, a split second really you see these images at times, but it just it's implanted in your mind, and even just kind of going online to see the actual face and trying to kind of come to terms with this, it just it's still kind of one that just haunts me, and The Exorcist, it really is one of the most disturbing experiences you can ever get. And for me, if I was asked what is the scariest film that I've seen, I have to currently say The Exorcist. From 1973. This film truly is. It's a very Halloweeny film as well. So obviously, I recommend seeing it if you haven't around this time. But yes, seeing this film, it really is. I think the scariest film that I've seen, and one of the top 10 for the record, easily horror films ever made, and it's perfection to me, and yes, it's the one that kind of it gets under my skin the most. The jump scares are the most intense and jolting, and just the actual the narrative here and what's happening to these characters, it just, even though it is comedic at times later on, it is the one that disturbs me the most. I think it's the one that just haunts me the most, and as I say, watching this film when I'm in it, I think I believe everything that is happening in that sense. It's just so realistic, kind of fantastical as well at times, and it's that combination that just does something to me. It puts me in a hypnotic state, like The Shining, but it's even scarier, and it takes me to a level that is, just I don't think any other horror film has done in terms of truly scaring me, and just disturbing me, and just making me feel like I'm in that kind of horror experience. The Shining, I think, I've just mentioned that is I think that's an even better film. That's kind of in my top 50 favourites. But I think The Exorcist, if I had to say, is the scariest film that I've seen. Scariest horror and scariest film. So yes, that's my pick for the scariest horror film, The Exorcist. So yes, there we have it. I gave some picks as well before that, some examples. Again, that wasn't an exact rundown. I could be missing some. That was just a few films that came to my head before recording this that I thought would give us examples of some of the scariest films I've seen, and obviously some of my favourites. But yeah, some of the scariest films in particular that I've seen and most disturbing. Again, this is a viewer question. So what do you think? What is the scariest film that you've seen? And do you watch it around the Halloween period, of course, as well? That's a question you do. What time of the year do you watch it, or is it just whenever? And do you kind of have you seen it multiple times, or did you just leave it after that once because it was too scary? And perhaps who knows? Yes, be interested to hear, and great to kind of celebrate the Halloween period. So yes, I gave some examples, but for me, The Exorcist is the scariest, and again, it could be a number of reasons why a film scares you. It could be jump scares. It could be to do with visual moments, lighting, kind of creepy atmosphere, music as well. Obviously contributes. Score or sound design, of course, and it could be a performance in a film, one that is so disturbing and real that it gets to you. I saw recently Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. That's a film that, through the performances as well as other methods, that kind of got to me, and performances were very, very haunting. So that's, it could be anything. As I say, it could be just a film that's consistently kind of making you feel uneasy and disturbed, scared, of course. So yeah, very, very interesting. Obviously, it's subjective. So I look forward to hearing a variety of just different comments, of course, and what is the scariest film, and of course, what's your watching experience with this particular film, and you can give different, multiple examples. But yes, for me, it's The Exorcist, and it'd be great to hear, what it is for you as well. So yes, of course, that's it for now, and continue to watch if you are many horror films, and I've been having a great time during this period, and yes, a few days left as of recording this, and just a few horror films left to watch or rewatch, of course, including the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Beetlejuice as well. I'm going to be watching that perhaps on Halloween itself, just because it is really Halloweeny. As always, kind of enjoy watching films, and it's been great to do this, and I look forward to the discussions, of course, in the comments. So yes, as always, take care, and thanks for watching.